Hello everyone, my name is Jose Abalos. I'm an associate level designer at Avalanche Software, and in this tutorial we will see the second part on how I did Remote Bowling HD. In the first part we saw how we can move a ball using remote controllers and weather vanes, and now we're going to be doing checkpoints. Alright, so the first part is how are we going to establish the checkpoints, at least from a logical point of view. For that, we're going to be using logic gates. One logic gate for each checkpoint that we're going to be using throughout the level. Since for this tutorial we're just going to do 3, I'm going to need to put 3 logic gates. You can use more if you want to, but it's not necessary. So let's look on Creativity Toys and let's look for the logic gate. Right here. So we're going to put here 1, 2, and 3. The way we want them to work is that if the gate is open, when we send an input, it will execute an output, which will make the ball drop. In this case, for example, let's say that the one we did in the previous tutorial is checkpoint number 1. So if we send an input to this one, the output it's going to be make the ball drop right here. Otherwise, it's going to check for the next checkpoint, which will be another falling object generator, which we will have to place somewhere else, and so on. So the first thing that we need to settle is once we once we get to this trigger area that basically sets up everything and basically makes the camera focus on the ball, we also needed to open that particular logic gate and as well as close the other ones. So just for the sake of clarity, I'm just gonna make a new trigger area. And let's say that whenever new logic connection entered a physics ball, we're gonna open this particular logic gate. And this is because I'm gonna place this trigger area underneath this one. So also, we need that when we open this logic gate, we're going to close the other ones. This is because I only want there to be one active checkpoint at a time. And the active checkpoint is going to be the one that is open. So, once we open this one, we're going to close this one. So, close. And also, let's do the same thing again. New logic connection, when we open, we're gonna close this one. Now we can do the same thing again. So when we open this one, so it would be when we activate the second checkpoint, we're gonna close the 2 other logic gates. So this will be the only one available. And then, once we start doing the checkup, it's gonna say, okay, spawn a ball not from the first checkpoint, but from the second checkpoint. So once we open, we're gonna close this logic gate. And same thing for the other. And now we're going to be doing the same thing with the third checkpoint. So once we activate this checkpoint, we're going to close the other 2. So new logic connection, when this one is open, we are going to close this one, and same thing with the first. So once we open, we're going to close. Close this one. Now you may be wondering, hey, why are you doing this if there is a creativity toy called, the checkpoint? Why don't we use that one? And it makes sense, but the problem is that the ball does not register the checkpoint, at least this creativity toy. This creativity toy only works with players, and when we're using the ball, it's not the player who is going through that particular maze, it is the ball. And that's why checkpoints don't work with physics balls. So that's why we need to create this custom system from scratch. So now we have that when we enter this checkpoint, it's going to open this logic gate. And once we open this logic gate, it's going to close the other 2 ones. So we're going to say, hey, start from the first checkpoint. So let's move it over and let's put it at around the same place as the other trigger area, but let's place it a little bit more below. It's not necessary, it can be in the exact same location, but I'm just doing it a little bit for clarity, you could say. So, now we need to make our other 2 checkpoints. And now we need to make the other 2 checkpoints in the sense of what it's going on in the actual stage. So for that, we need another falling object generator, and we're gonna need another camera. So for every single checkpoint, physical checkpoint that is on the level, you're gonna need an object generator, a target camera, and we're gonna need 2 trigger areas. One for making the camera focus on the ball, and another one for making activating, for opening and closing the logic gates. So we need the camera to be constant, so we need to place the camera at a certain distance from the falling object generator. So the way we do this is using basic blocks. So we can see that our camera is 2 blocks high from the falling object generator, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit over 5 square and basic blocks. So let's say that, okay, so in this case we're gonna need, sorry everyone. So the first block would be located around here, so this would be the second block, 3rd, 4, 5. Now let's put a target camera like around here. And we can delete these basic blocks. These are only for reference. So, this is the camera associated with the first checkpoint, which is the one we did in the previous tutorial. And this camera is going to be associated with the second checkpoint, which is associated to this falling object generator. So, we need to change the properties just the way we did in the first tutorial. So, properties, and the only one we need is camera target, triggering actor. Okay, we're good to go. Now we need to make the 2 trigger areas. So let's make the first one. The first one is going to be that tells the camera, hey, focus on this one. Okay, so let's select it with the wand, and new logic connection, entered player any, oh no, I'm sorry. New logic connection, entered physics ball. And we're going to activate the target camera. And now we need the second trigger area. So let's place it around here. Then we can move it. So new logic connection, entered physics ball. This is the second checkpoint. So the logic gate that we need to open is this one. So we will open this one. And since we already did the connections for this one, once we open this particular logic gate, it's going to close the other 2. So let's replace this one again in another place. So let's put it around here. And now let's make a 3rd checkpoint, which we're going to put, let's say somewhere around here maybe? Yeah, this is good enough. This is just for demonstration purposes. Now let's put a camera at a constant location. So 1, 2, and it was 5 blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll put the target camera right here, around this place. It was around here, more or less. Okay, now I'm just gonna delete these blocks. I'm not gonna need them anymore, and also make the camera follow the triggering actor. So the camera target, triggering actor. And now we only need the two remaining trigger areas. So we will configure them right now. Put it somewhere around here. Yeah, this is good. So this first trigger area is going to make the camera focus on the actor that calls it. So entered physics ball, and we activate the target cam. So activate. And now we place the second trigger area that will activate the corresponding logic gate. So for this case, this is going to be our third checkpoint. So we need to open the third logic gate. This one right here. So, and we open this one. And when we open this one, these two are going to get close as well. Alright, now let's replace this one beneath other trigger area, and now we are almost good to go. Now we have our checkpoints basically set up and ready to go. But what we need to do now is what happens once we lose the ball. That is going to be the tricky part. So, let's place one trigger area around, say, this south border, you could call it, of the stage. And now we're gonna make it so this crosses all across the stage. So we pick up the anchor and we're just gonna move it all the way across the terrain piece. And this is the other tricky concept. Not only am I going to have 3 logic gates, one for each checkpoint, but also I'm gonna use another logic gate, which its function is gonna be regulating what happens when you lose the ball. So what that one logic gate is going to do is basically, hey, eliminate the balls from each of these falling object generators, wait 3 seconds, and then check which checkpoint is the one that is currently active. So I will place it the logic gate around here. Hang on a second. There we go. So whenever I step out of bounds, which is represented by this trigger area, new logic connection entered, and we're going to say physics ball, we're going to send an input to this logic gate. And here's the thing, logic gates by default are open, so it will perform an output. All this logic gate is going to do is do an output. So the output, I'm going to first remove all the balls from a falling object generator, so remove all. Same thing for the other 2 falling object generators. So this will be falling object generator, remove all, and same thing for the third one. Okay, falling object generator, remove all. So we remove all the balls, but now we need to wait 3 seconds before checking, okay, which one is the active checkpoint. So we need to use a time delayer for that. So we find it in the ribbon, in the creativity toys. So time delayer, we place it right here. We set up its properties, so it's 3 seconds. And now, after that, after eliminating all the balls, I'm gonna start the delay, which is 3 seconds. And now when we are done, which is by saying new logic connection delay completed, I'm gonna send an input to the first logic gate. So what's gonna happen? Once we get off the stage, we eliminate all the balls. So this is why I did the remove all from all 3 falling object generators, because I don't know which one is the current checkpoint so far. Then I wait 3 seconds, and after 3 seconds I check, okay, is it the first checkpoint? Yes. If it is open, which in that case it will perform an output signal, I'm gonna drop a ball from here. If not, I'm gonna send an input to the second logic gate and say, hey, are you open? If it is open, I'm gonna create a bowling ball from here. And if not, I'm gonna do it with third checkpoint, which is gonna say, hey, are you open? And in that case, generate a ball from the third checkpoint. And the beautiful thing of this is that if it works for one trigger area, it can work for all the different trigger areas that you can place around the level that will determine, okay, whether the ball is out of the stage or not. So, with that said, let's try it out. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot something. Before we try it out, we need to actually generate the ball from the other two. So, let's say if output, for the second checkpoint, we need to make a bowling ball. And same thing with the third checkpoint. So, output, and now we also make a bowling ball. And finally, let's say that if the logic gate is open, I also need to generate a bowling ball from here. If not, it's going to do an input block, which is going to send an input to this one. And same for this one too. So, new logic connection input block, which happens when you get an input and the logic gate is closed. We're going to check the third checkpoint and see if we need to spawn the ball from there. Okay, now we should be done and good to go, so let's try it out. By default, it's gonna spawn the ball from here. So, okay, we can see that we already are done with the first one. The camera angle is changing because now we're using the camera associated with the second checkpoint, but let's try getting out of the stage. Now it's going to wait 3 seconds and it's going to spawn a ball from the second checkpoint, which is exactly what happened. And now if we try it from the third checkpoint, now a couple of seconds, and now it will generate a ball from the third checkpoint. And now let's try it back to the first checkpoint. Now if we try from the very first checkpoint, if we fall, 1, 2, 3, and the ball respawns. So, everything is working just as intended. And that's it for this tutorial. So, I hope you found it useful, and stay tuned for the third part where we're going to be using the challenge maker in order to make this a fully featured toy box game with podiums, leaderboards, timers, all sorts of fun. So, thanks a lot for watching and have a great day!